Hello everybody. Today we are going to learn about ratio and proportion. In this video I am going to explain you about a ratio as well as I am going to give you the example for ratio and the notable points for ratio and for proportion. Okay, so let's start. First we will learn about ratio. Ratio. When we compare any two quantities in terms of how many times, this comparison is known as the ratio. We denote ratio using symbol colon. Okay, we will use this symbol while comparing two quantities. So such type of a comparison is called as ratio. Now I'll explain you with the help of example. For example, see here, the cost of a mango is rupees 25 and the cost of an apple is rupees 5. Now the mango for one mango here they are costing rupees 25 and for an apple it is costing 5 rupees. Okay, so how many times the cost of mango that of an apple? Now this statement explains us that we have to compare with the help of ratio. Okay, how many times the cost of mango that of an apple? So ratio we have to write it as cost of a mango is to cost of an apple, and that is here 25 is to 5. This symbol is called we read with this symbol as is to. Okay, so 25 is to 5. Now I think you all understood that what is ratio. Ratio is the comparison, just it is in terms of how many times. Okay, now I'll give you some notable points for ratio which you have to remember so that you will not make any mistake while solving problems regarding ratio. So the first point is, for comparison by ratio, the two quantities must be in the same unit. Just now I gave you the example of mango and apple. In that the cost of both the things was in the unit rupees. If the one quantity is told in the rupees and one quantity has told in the paise, then we have to convert them and we have to make it in the same quantity, same unit. If they are not, they should be expressed in the same unit before the ratio is taken. Okay, this is very important point. Next we have, note that the ratio 3:2 is different from 2:3. See here only two numbers are used, that is 3 and 2. You might have thinking that 3:2, how it is different from 2:3? Because thus the order in which quantities are taken to express their ratio is important here. Because now in a previous example I told you that we have compared like the ratio the cost of mango is to the is to the cost of apple. Okay, so the answer we got it as 25 is to 5. If I had told that cost of an apple is to cost of an mango, then the ratio was 5 is to 25. So here there is a difference. If I took apple first, then the 5 will come first. If I took mango first, then the mango 25 will come first. So it is different from each other. So the ratio 3:2 is different from the ratio 2:3. That is also you have to remember. Next point, a ratio may be treated as a fraction. Thus the ratio 10:3 may be treated as 10/3. Now see here the first number of the ratio is the numerator of the fraction and the second number of the ratio is the denominator of the fraction. That also you have to remember, learn carefully. Okay. Next point is, two ratios are equivalent if the fraction corresponding to them are equivalent. Thus, 3:2 is equivalent to 6:4 or 12:8 because 3/2 is equal to 6/4 equal to 12/8. In one of my video, I told you how to convert the given fraction into equivalent fraction. If you watch that video, then you might have understood how these fractions are equivalent to each other. So as these fractions are equivalent to each other, these ratios are also equivalent to each other. Just remember that the first number should be numerator and the second number should be denominator. Here the 6 is numerator, 4 is denominator, same way. Okay. Now the next point is a ratio can be expressed in its lowest form, same as fraction. Okay, for example, ratio 50:15 is treated as 50/15 in its lowest form as 10/3. Okay, as we can convert this fraction into the lowest form as 10/3. Therefore, the ratio 50:15 is in its lowest form as 10:3. Okay. So here these are the most important points of ratio. Now we will move towards proportion. Okay. So proportion, four quantities. Now here there are four quantities are said to be in proportion. In the ratio we had two quantities. Now here we have four quantities. Okay. Four quantities are said to be in proportion if the ratio of the first and the second quantity is equal to the ratio of the third and the fourth quantity. Okay. Now see here there are four quantities and the ratio of the first and second quantity should be equal to the ratio of third and fourth quantity. Then those four quantities we can say that they are in proportion. Okay. So for example here these four numbers are in proportion. Why? Because 3/10 is equal to 15/50. As we know equivalent fraction, if I multiply this 3/10 by 5, I'll get the answer as 15/5 because 3 5s are 15 and 10 5s are 50. Therefore, these two fractions are equivalent. Therefore, these four numbers we can indicate by proportion as 3:10 as 15:15. This we can read as 3:10 as 15:50. So these two fractions we can say they are in proportion like this way. Okay, but they also should be in order. Okay, here the number is first, these first two has one ratio and these third and fourth has one ratio and they are equivalent to each other. Therefore they combine to form proportion. Okay. Now let's understand notable points for proportion. Here the first point is in proportion A is to B as C is to D. A and D are the extreme terms and B and C are the middle terms, or we can say mean terms. So here these four terms are in proportion where the last two numbers means the first number and the last number, those two terms we can say it as extreme term, and the middle terms B and C are called as mean terms. Okay. Next point we have the order of terms in the proportion is important. Just now I told you na, the order of term should be in the proportion if they are in order. See here A, B, C, D are in proportion but A, B, D and C are not, since A upon B is not equal to D upon C. Now you can understand this better way with the help of example. Say just now we had taken these four terms only for while explaining you the proportion, but here the 15 was the third term and 50 was the fourth term. So these four terms are not in proportion, since 3/10 is not equal to 50/15, because when you find the equivalent of 3/10, we will not get the term as 50/15 as the equivalent for 3/10. Therefore, these four terms, if they were in order as 3, 10, 15 and 50, then they were in proportion, but the term C and D has got jumbled. Therefore, these four terms are not in proportion now. Understood? So here the notable points for proportions are over. If you have any doubt, you can ask me in the comment box. If you want I to prepare any video for any regarding any maths point, you can ask me in the comment box. I will prepare for it. If you like my teaching, then please subscribe to my channel. Bye everyone.